Welcome to Junkyard Theory, folks. Today we've got a very special guest in the house, Ben Jacquier. He is a sound designer and a music composer. And if you've been anywhere on Instagram and if you've been following anything related to film online, chances are you've come across his amazing videos. Recently, he released a little reel about containing like him redoing the sound design for the stinger section from the new Transformers trailer, and it was just amazing, which is what kind of uh, brought my attention to Ben, and I am so stoked to have him in the house here today. Ben, hi bon,
Hello,
and bonjour. How are
how you
you?
doing? I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Thanks so much for doing this, man. I mean, you are a Instagram celebrity when it comes to filmmakers. I mean, I've seen your videos before, but the moment, like I said, where I decided I need to get him on Junkyard Theory was when I saw the Transformers video. I've seen your stuff before. Like,
Yeah.
it's been around. You've been around. So, talk to me a bit about where you come from, where you come from, how you got into the film business. I'd love to hear about that.
Well, I'm not sure we have enough time for that, but
Let's compress it.
it's quite a long story. But I'm gonna try to keep it short. But so thank you for having me first. It's a real pleasure. Um, so yeah, because people keep asking me, and it's yeah, like I think I still don't realize like how big my Instagram went because so many people text me and messaging me, and for me, I'm just doing my stuff in my place, just having fun on my Instagram. Anyway, so first, to begin with, I'm a musician. For I think everything start from there. When I was young, I started playing music. My parents put me like, when you start learning an instrument. So I started learning drums when I was young, and I did it for like I don't know 6 7 years. Rhythm was always what like drove me. It was I think it's the key here. It's the rhythm,
Mhm.
because every instrument I learned from there it was easy because I had this really this sense of rhythm. So that's I think that's the most important thing for me when it comes to music. Same about film, and when you make film it's all about rhythm for me. um so I played drums, and then start singing with a friend. And then I wanted to sing on my own music, so I pick up the guitar and I start learning guitar on my own, and then how to compose with software and with a keyboard. And when I start composing my own music and record my own music with the small computer, small stuff, small mic, even without quality, when I just wanted to learn how to do it. So basically learned everything I can by myself. And and then I wanted to do my own video clip. So when you start asking people around and the result is, sorry, it's bad. I'm gonna try to keep it like I'm gonna try to not use bad words, but sometime when I get
That's okay.
like
You can go unfiltered on the
emotional,
podcast. Okay.
I can be harsh, so sorry about that.
That's
But
okay.
yeah, like it's all about like wanting to improve and being curious. I learned how to do my own videos for my own music. I come from the mountains, I in the mountain in the French Alps. So I'm surrounded by ski resorts and stuff, but there's no big cities or stuff like this where you can meet people. When it comes to filmmaking and stuff like this, there's no one here. I mean, at least 15 years ago, when I wanted to do things like this, I was the only one recording his music, the only one trying to make videos and stuff like this. The equipment was not really great, but we did I did what I could with what I had. And um and then people start asking me, can you record my music, can you film my videos? So you know I kept going like this. Um so years later I became a professional filmmaker. After opening two music studio, I opened a film studio in Jersey. It's an island between France and England, and I spent, I don't know, 3 to 4 years there, uh, back and forth to France. Because in winter I was also a snowboard instructor. As I said, I come from the mountain, and I was
Wow.
born on a snowboard. So I've been teaching snowboard for 17 years now. So winter in France and the rest of the year in Jersey, making film, commercial film, short film, being a directive creator for brands and stuff like this. So I learned a lot, and I was always composing the music of my own films. So this is where it started, like being a music composer for film. It was for my own film first, and then people start liking the music I was doing for my own film. So there was like, oh, can you compose the music for us for like a short movie, or documentary, or for or
Mhm.
commercial, for ads, whatever. And step by step, I decided to stop providing like film services professionally, because I really wanted to focus on music. This is where my pleasure is. It's what music brings to a film, like what you can do with music basically to improve the film. So for me, like music and sound design, it's 70% of what makes a good film. So then when I took these decisions, I stopped filming. I just kept filming just for myself. As you can see, my Instagram video, I do everything myself. So I film and I edit them. But this is about it. Like, I don't do any more proper videos, just for fun, for Instagram and YouTube, basically. But at least I have the knowledge to do them myself. Um, but now, yeah, I'm really focusing on sound design, and music for film. I really try to make it short, but like, just to make you understand, it started by being a musician, learning. It's like a learning course, like
Yeah.
filming, doing music for film, and then back to just doing the music without
Yeah.
working on. Some people keep asking me if I can film and can I edit that stuff, and but I keep saying no, because I have too much work now as a sound designer and a music
Mhm.
composer. So yeah, this is it basically.
That's a very interesting take because you've come back full circle
Yeah,
to the place where you started, and something that interested me in what you said. I mean, there were quite a few. One thing was the fact that you started learning how to play instruments organically before you switched over to creating music digitally. So you have in the modern day and age, like you have so many composers who don't really play any instruments in reality, but they are quite good at you know creating music digitally on whatever software that they
yeah.
decide to. When it comes to you, do you think that having played instruments before contributed in any good way to you creating music digitally as well?
Yeah, of course. First, because as I said, I'm a musician.
Hmm.
I still do a lot of gigs and live performance. I play a lot. In winter and summer, I have 3 to 4 gigs a week.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
this is what I do on the side. I'm not stuck in a studio. I'm also a performer, so I sing and I play guitar and I play drums. We are a band of two. I got my mate is playing electric guitar and bass, and I play drums, acoustic guitar, and I sing.
Do you
I
guys
use
have a name for the band?
Yeah, yeah. We are Ben and Billy Bleu, but we I have so much work that I can't, like, to put ourselves on social. It's still hard making stuff for our band because we already have so much gigs and stuff. It's hard to promote ourselves because we are fully booked all the time. So it's not like we don't want to do it. It's just we don't have to do it. So we don't put our energy into doing this because we already have too much work. I have too much work in studio for um, as a music composer and sound designer. So my mate take care of the booking for the band because I don't have time for that. He's
Yeah.
fully focused on being a music performer, so that's his job. So yeah, we so I use a loop pedal, a looper. So I loop my
Yeah.
guitar, I loop the bass, I loop the drums, and I do everything live. So that's the kind of band that works really well. Um, so yeah, for me to play music, the real music, I mean, to pick up an instrument and to see how it sounds, it's really important. When I start composing music digitally, it sounds crap. Like it was really bad, and I was like, "This doesn't sound right." My first music when I start with software was Fruity Loop back in the
Mm.
day, and it was so bad, so bad. So yeah, this is, I guess this is why I'm also a sound designer. It's because I love recording organic sounds. Like, look at the Transformers video I made, for example. It all come from a wheelbarrow sounds with a shovel. This, and what
Yeah.
you can do with organic sounds digitally is good, but you can also create sounds from scratch in your computer, but it's less fun for me.
Mm.
It's less fun, and yeah, I love music. I love organic sound. I love instruments. Like in another life, I would have been like a guitar maker, for example. I love the way you make guitars and all they sounds different. These kind of things. So every time I go somewhere or wherever I'm surrounded by, I can imagine sounds and how it sounds like if I. Like how many times I was at my desk and I was recording stuff just with my pen, tapping on everything, and you can make a music out of it. So yeah, organic sound is a key for me. Digitally, it's just a way to improve and transform and make it sounds better, but it always start with organic sound, and this is kind of what I do on Instagram. If you watch the videos I made, it start with something fun
Mm.
that I record.
Exactly. The other thing that I was going to bring up was the fact that whenever you watch one of your videos, it's quite obvious that you're having fun with the whole process. And that's what, in a way, makes it all the more interesting.
Yeah, it's just, for me, I don't know if it's years of experience, like, but what I do on Instagram, the video I do, it's pretty easy for me.
Hmm.
It never take long to make videos. What takes long, it's finding a sequence that I like
Okay.
from films. But
Yeah.
when I have a cool sequence, the idea of how I'm gonna make the what I want, it always come pretty fast,
Hmm.
and and it's just after it's just about like the filming, because I'm alone doing it. It's putting the camera on the tripod, filming, getting the right angle, the right light. Because I know how to do it. It doesn't take too long, but it's just the process. It can be, if I had someone, for example, to help, it will be really faster. But the thing that I've been trying to do, it's to have fun, because I want people to have fun watching them. Uh, I wanted I wanted them to be educational. I wanted to bring light on sound designer and what is it to be the guy
Mm.
that creates sounds for film and get the immersive experience from, because I think people, it's funny when I talk about my job and what is it to be a sound designer. People don't realize, like, um, that we don't record sounds from a shooting scene. Like when you film, I don't know, if you film someone running in the forest, people they're like, "But why you don't record the guy running in the forest while you're filming it?" I'm like, if you think about it, like if you try to be smart 1 second, there is the guy who's holding the camera running behind him. There's the guy holding the light running behind him. There's a director shouting at him, being like, "Run faster, or run slower, or run better."
Exactly.
You know, and people don't think about that kind of thing while you're shooting a film. So
Mm.
there's it's really rare that there's other thing than the dialogue I've been recording on set.
Yeah.
So you got guys like me having to do all those things, the sound of the steps, the sound of the forest, everything. And they are really important, because even with a good director and even a good film without music and sound design, it's still a shit movie. And
Very true.
I was really frustrated when I started doing it. I was really frustrated. I don't know, maybe yeah, I don't know, just frustrated because a good film, you get out of the theater and you're like, oh, this film is so good, the director is so good. But yeah, the director might be a good director, but he's nothing without his team, without the music composer, without the sound designer, without the editor, without the color grader. Yeah, I don't know.
Mm. Colorist, cinematographer,
It's
everybody. Yeah.
And when it comes to credits at the end, and sometimes the all the stuff becomes after named after. I mean, I don't understand why you don't put light on all the important people that work on the film. The direct, you see the name of the director like 5 times at the beginning, 5 times at the end. It's great. We know it's him. He's famous, cool. There is no one, literally no one, without the people that actually made the film. The editor, the guy who do the color, the guy who do the music, the guy who do the sound design. Like it's like everybody knows Hans Daimler because he became really famous, but there's so many amazing music composer for film, and they still working in the shades because no one's put lights on them.
Yeah.
But you probably heard their music like thousands of times. It's just like I don't understand why we still putting. I have nothing against director. It's just I think it's not fair that the others they're not putting at the same level, because without them a film is nothing, especially when it comes to audio, because visual effects they're great without the sound, but the immersive experience they are
Mm.
just nothing. Like, but take Star Wars, if you don't hear the blaster of the laser saber, it's just nothing without the sound.
That's very true. I agree with what you said because there's that saying the audience will forgive bad video, but they will not forgive bad audio. Because if the audio is crap,
Yeah.
it's just going to take the audience away from the whole experience and just kill the experience essentially. So another thing that you mentioned was the fact that you went full circle. You started making your own movies, and then eventually stopped directing, editing, all of that stuff. But you have an idea about what it takes to actually shoot a movie, not just scoring something that comes to you, which has been shot in like some other country, some like several months back. This is stuff that you actually went out, shot, put together, and you know the painstaking effort that it takes to combine all of that. Does that bring a different kind of appreciation and understanding, which feeds into the sound work that you do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I used to wear, when it comes to make a film, I I had the opportunity to wear any hats.
Any?
Like, I used to be a director for as a creative director with a team for a big UK brand. I know what is it to hire camera operator. I know what is it to hire a script, to hire someone who work on the scenario, to have actors, to take care of the actors. I know what is it to hold the camera and to record, and I know how it is to do the editing and the color grading. Not saying that I'm very good at all of them, but like I'm good enough to make it to know what it takes. I made documentaries. One of my documentaries on Amazon Prime, and I made it myself on my own, alone, from the shooting to the music to the editing. So I put a lot of effort in my work, whatever I do. But when it comes to only making the music for a film, uh, I guess because I kn- I know film, and I know filmmaking. uh, I think I have a good eye on what I which emotion I want to bring when I see a scene, when I see a whatever video. It's really, it's not easy, but like when people ask me to do the music for whatever video it is, I watch it once and I kind of know already where I want to go. So
Mm.
people come to me without. too much direction. I'll say, because I, even if they have directions, I try to tell them like, let me do my thing first. If you don't like it, um, I'm happy to hear your vision and work toward your vision, because at the end of the day, I'm not here to put a light on my work. I'm here to make sure the I improve the film and the director vision, obviously. But I know what I can do for that. So when people come to me and they're like, we want music, I'm like, okay, don't say no more, just show me the project, show me what you have. If you shot it, if you already have the shot or the edit or a rough cut. This is another thing, like people, they shy sometimes. Directors, they shy because they know their films, they're not finished,
Hmm.
and they want you to see what they try to achieve. um, I have to I have to make them understand that I know what is it to make a film, and I know if it's at the middle of the process and it still looks shit because there is no colors or the edit is not finished. I know all the steps, so don't worry. Like, show me the film. I won't judge what I see. I'll judge. I'll know what it can be. So I think that's
Yeah.
very, very, very important as a music composer, to understand the vision and not just judging like a film in the process. That's another example. Like I worked on this sci-fi film. It's an hour and a half film. It's an animated film. When I worked on it, there it was. I didn't see any rendering, any texture, or any good quality animation. It was pretty rough. It takes a lot of imagination to see like what the movie can be, and work on this kind of project. It's, yeah, it takes a lot of effort, because at the end the film is great, but when I worked on it, it was hard to imagine it will be that great, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, to reply to that was a very long answer, but to reply to you, I think because I used to work a lot in the film industry, in different departments, it's always a bonus when it comes to make music for films, to understand what is it to make a movie.
Yeah. That's a very interesting answer as well, because something, when I was talking to Louis Leterrier, he echoed the same sentiments in a way, because he also used to do drumming. He used to play the drums. So something that he said was that he learned rhythm through drumming, playing in a band, because it helped him to build something up to a crescendo, you know, which is pretty
Yeah,
much a very similar thing to what you said. And yeah, about rhythm, like you cut your stuff as well. How do you? Is there anything that uh, and is there anything intuitively that you feel like, okay, the rhythm for this particular scene has to go from here to here to here, but are there chances like where you end up not wrong, but you end up scoring something entirely different to the director's vision, and then how do you bridge those two, like what you saw for the particular scene and what the director saw?
yeah. um yeah, it's hard questions, because there's so many different cases, like it happens. So like, it's always different. Each director is different, each film is different. Every time it's different. So as I said, most of the time I try to not have too much of the director vision,
Hmm.
because of course I want to understand what he's trying to do with this film, but I have a great sense of um how would I say, I read people quite easily. uh so I don't want the director to explain to me what I have to do. I just want him to talk about his movie without giving me too much direction. If I know like what he's trying what I feel about his movie, or what the emotion and stuff like this. As I
Mhm.
said, I do my own thing because most of the time it's the right way. Even it's sometimes it surprised the director because he was like, "Oh, that's not what I was picturing in my head." Doesn't mean it's not the right emotion that he wants. So most it's really rare that the people come to me and like, okay, we heard your first version and we want you to do another take that's completely different. Like, I
Mhm.
don't recall that happens. It's really rare. It's really rare. But again, it's not because I'll do something that the director didn't think of, that it's wrong, or even if he doesn't like it, doesn't mean I did a bad work or wrong work. But people, everybody's different. So again, the aim is to make sure that I do at the end the director is happy with what I did,
Yeah.
and it works for the movie. I don't do it because I want my name to be like, oh, I did this music and it sounds so great. No, my aim is to make sure we did a film together that people will enjoy. So yeah, about the rhythm, as I said from the beginning, for me it's always the key.
Mhm.
So when I watch a scene, I kind of know like the tempo or the kind of emotion I want to put it. If first,
Yep.
because there is basic stuff like action movie, action scene, not action scene, like contemplative scene, that kind of thing that can help you like choose the rhythm and the tempo you want to put. But I like to do the opposite thing. Like, it's not because it's an action scene that I'm gonna have a really high tempo or things like this. I try to be creative and to step up every time. Otherwise, you get stuck in the same thing all the time. And action scene, you put strings and you're like, "Ta ta 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 ta," and that's easy and it's made in 10 minutes and you're done. But I think it's, yeah, I try to step up. So
Do you have any moments where you are kind of like, writers have writer's block, and whatever other fields, they probably have their own blocks, Whenever you're composing, if you have a block, if you ever come across that, how do you kind of get out of it? Do you go snowboarding?
uh, of course it happens. Um, but again, like, I don't recall like having a massive issue with that. Uh, like, I always do. I always compose. Like, it's not really having a block, but not liking what you do. Yeah, that happens a lot. So you just
Yeah.
redo it again. It's For me, it's not about like being blank and being stuck on my stuff, like the music and I compose. I have something in my head all the time, and I compose. If it doesn't reach if the results, it's not what I had in mind, I just redo it. And I end up with so many stuff that I didn't finish. Like, my computer is full of music that they never been exported.
Hmm.
uh, Too much, way too much, and I never took the time to export them. And maybe they're great for something else, or maybe I just put them on the internet and people use them. I never did it, never. So yeah, it's not about uh, being blocked or and not composing. It's about just make sure I like what I've done. So sometimes it takes more than one take. But yeah, otherwise it's simple. I'm not in studio if I'm not in the mood, because I work for myself as a freelance. Like, if I'm studio composing music, it's because I feel like it. So that's why I'm not stuck on my keyboard. Because if I'm here sitting in this chair, it's because this is where I want to be at this
Hmm.
moment. Otherwise, I'll be somewhere else, playing games, watching TV, snowboarding, walking out. I have as I said, I live in the mountains. As soon as I pass the door, I'm in the forest with the snow, so I walk my dog twice a day. Got a lake right 50 meters from here. I have a beautiful lake. Um, so yeah, it's not hard to get out of the studio and do amazing stuff. But if I'm here, it's because I want to be here. So being stuck's not it's not really a thing. Not liking what I do, that's something.
About not liking what you do, this is something I guess most creative people have a problem with, because you have that creator's curse. I know I can always do better. I mean, like I've had this multiple times whenever I've done anything creative. When do you figure out, okay, this is the moment I'm going to stop it, because one thing, I probably don't have the time, or I probably don't get paid enough to do like another iteration. But how do you come to terms with, okay, this is the final one, I'll just have to put it out there and be happy with it?
Yeah. So first, not being paid enough, and that never been my way of thinking.
Hmm.
If I say yes to a job, if I say yes to a project, to a challenge, to whatever, as soon if I said yeah, it's because I know I will put my 200% into it. So of course, there's a lot of time where I didn't get enough money or didn't even get paid at all. But if I said yeah, it's because it's an interesting challenge or it's an interesting project, or I wanted to do it for whatever reason is. Sometimes it's to help. Sometimes it's about a documentary with an important subject, or you want to be part of it, even if there is no budget. Money has never been my way to to work and to say yes and to improve it. It's all about interesting projects. Sometimes you have to eat, so sometimes I do project that I'm not really interested in, but um, as soon as I say yes, I give my 200%. I won't be there on Instagram or on with my clients now if I didn't give my 200% every time I said yes. So that's one thing. Second thing, um, I kind of lost. I'm lost in my head. I lost the question.
It's essentially, when do you know, when do when you put
Okay.
something out there, when do you decide to be okay with it?
So that was for me was a very important point for the money, because it's
Hmm.
never be like if it's not interesting and you don't get paid, I said just say no. I reached this point. I had to learn how to say no. That was something like I was saying yes every time, and I'm glad I did, because it's a lot of experience. Sometimes you do things that you don't like. Sometimes you don't even have the time to do it. You have people always come to me like, "Oh, we didn't think about the sound design or the music, but we have to release this short film in 3 days. Can you do something?" And we don't have money for it. And I said yes to even the crappiest things. I said yes for years. Now I have comfortable enough to say no, and I say no to a lot of things. Uh, but then to know when you are done or you're not, time is always a good thing, because as I said, people come to me quite late in the process of making a film. It's at least it used to, like, less and less now.
Hmm.
But for the people that might listening and that might want to be music composer or sound designer, you have to be ready to work in a very short period of time, because small productions or a lone filmmaker, you know, that kind of scale, they always forget about music or sound design, and that's always the really last thing they will do for their movie. So they're like, oh, we should have we should have bring a sound designer or a music composer who would have had something into our film. Let's ask someone, and even if the film has to be released in 3 days, we're gonna find someone to help us. And you end up working on a 48 hours period of time to do your best, and it was hard, but I learned how to be very quick. Like when you don't have time to ask question about your job, about what you did, it's like you just did it and you did your maximum. You know you
Mm,
can do better, but you know it's the best you could have done in that short period of time.
yeah.
And I did crazy, crazy, crazy films in very, very, very short period of time. Like, give you an example. Last year, I won. It is a very famous film festival. It's a 48 film festival when you have to do a short film in 48 hours.
Yeah.
So the team came to me. I had few hours left before we had to send the film, and I did the soundtrack. It's a 7 minute film, so I had to compose a 7 minute music in a few
Wow.
hours. And it's the film festival that it happens in every cities in the world. So you have the competition in every cities, and then
Mm,
you have the final for every countries, and then you have the big final in Washington
yeah.
in the USA. So I won the best soundtrack in France. I was the best music score in France. So the film ended up being at the big final in Washington in March 2022, and I won the world best song at this festival.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah, it was great to because like making a 7 minute music for a film that
In
give the
48
right
hours, less than 48
emotion.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not about how many times, how many hours, or how long you put yourself into a project. It's not about that. It's about if you get the right emotion, I guess, from the beginning, if you work on in the right direction. I could have worked like days on this music and maybe it would have end up not being that good.
Mm,
um but I know it's hard for everyone who work in to creative jobs, filmmakers, painters, writers, sound designers, music composers. It's the same problem, but it's not something that I struggle with because I always have to be quick. And
mm,
when I have a vision, is I'm really fast up, and I don't really care if the small details they're here or not. Like as soon as I like it, I like it. I
mm.
don't know how to explain that, but uh,
When you're in the particular flow state, it just keeps pouring out of you and it just feels right.
yeah, when you are into something, you're like, oh, this is it, this is it.
Yeah.
It's
It's,
kind of a quick feeling. Like
mm,
I can spend hours stuck in my vision and be like, oh yeah, my god. And when I'm done, I'm done. Like it will be really hard for me to stop it and to come back on it like the next
yeah,
day and carry on because the vibe is gone.
exactly. Yes.
So for me, when the vibe is gone, it's my work is done. Like, yeah, maybe I will work on the mixing a bit better because you have to rest a bit your ears.
Mm,
When you compose music, I'll rest my ears and I do the mixing part the next day. But the creating part of it, it's done. Like it's really rare that I come back the next day and I will put more instruments or different parts of stuff like this. It's
yeah.
too hard to work on something you put your entire energy for a few hours. So yeah, I don't know how to explain that. But when the
No,
vibes, it's here,
it's
it's here.
yeah. I get what you mean. I get what you mean. It's kind of like the tap or whatever is open and it just keeps funneling through. And once the source is done, like, I you, you make sense. So you're good.
It's the same feeling for every videos I make for
Mm,
Instagram. As I said, the art part, it's to find the idea of which sequence I want to work on. And as soon as I see, finding a sequence from a long film, it's hard. So I have to. Transformers came because I was watching the trailer, and as soon as I seen the scene, the idea came to me, and the entire process is so short then because I know what to do and I know how to do it, and it's few hours of work and it's done. But it can take days to find for me
a
like
particular clip, a
I
clip that
don't
you like.
yeah, exactly, I don't know what's gonna be the next video. But I try not to post. I don't post every day because it's way too much work, but I try to keep it going. So I posted
Yeah.
Transformers like a week ago. So I need to find an idea for the next one, and I have none. I have to find like the film, this 5, 6, 7 second film I want to work on, and that's the thing I struggle with, not
Yeah.
creating.
I get you. And when it comes, so looking at the again the Transformers video, you sound design it and you also compose the music. When you do these two tasks, do you try to think about the other process? So if you are sound designing, do you ever think about the scoring process and then sound design accordingly, or do you treat these two processes as individual separate entities and then in the mix you try to figure out how to
There's
balance
no
them out?
uh, there's no rules at all. I For my Instagram videos, the music part, I know people are not really interesting into, like, they are, but not as much as they are into the sound design process, because it is something more rare than music making on the internet. So I try to show people that I do make the music for my videos, but I don't spend much time on it. Like for the Transformers, like it took me 10 minutes to make the music. Honestly, it's just because it's the theme of Transformers. I heard the theme. I was like,
Mm,
would I do a new thing, or would I just take the Transformer theme and I do it and I do my own version? Let's do. And I took, it's nothing. There's drums, there's choirs, a bit of strings. Honestly, it's nothing. And I try to. It's really about like putting a nice music on my videos, but I don't spend much time on them. But when it comes to do stuff for clients, when I'm in charge of the music and the sound design, usually I don't work them separately. I try to see the sound design and the music as one project.
mhm,
So when I compose the music and I do the sound design, most of the time it's in the same software project, same window. Then I can put them into folders, like this is my sound design part, this is my music part. But I try to, because sometimes I'm gonna start with, if I feel like I should start with the sound design, I'll start with the sound design. And because there's something interesting into the sound design, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do music, but it's gonna be light. Sometimes I don't feel sound design and I feel music, so I try to put my energy into the music and just to put a little bit of sound design to improve the scene. But uh, it always depends on how I feel when I start working on the project.
mhm,
Uh, Sometimes I end up doing the music with the sound design. Like you got a building site and you got like screwdrivers, and you got I don't know whatever tools that can make noise, and I end up doing the music with those noises. So I try to don't put any kind of rules of barrier into my creating process. Um, so yeah, I watch. It's like I said, it's all about how I feel and the vibes. First time I watched the client project, it's kind of already building stuff in my head.
mhm.
And sometimes like, oh, this moment the music should do like this, and like, oh, let's work on this part, and I do the music. Sometimes like, oh, I would love to do the sound design of this part, and I start doing the sound design and the music comes right after it. Sometimes I work on both at the same time. So
Yeah,
no rules,
gotcha.
I
More of a
guess.
technical. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, no. I just like the fact that I didn't learn anything about filmmaking at school.
Mm,
I guess people must. I guess they have more knowledge than I do when it comes to theory and things that I should do.
mhm,
But for me, like, I music or sound design or whatever, I have no rules, and I do it the way I want to do it because no one taught me how to do it, and I taught myself. So sometimes it happens, people say to me, oh, it's not the way you do. I'm like, but yes, it's actually the way I do, and whoever's not happy with it, I don't really care.
yeah. I've always found that when you stick to the theory, it's kind of like you you have this saying where it's like you think outside the box. right? You have a box, right? That like someone's put you in a box, but more along the lines of what you're saying, you never really learned it, but you're doing your own thing. It's like you're thinking like there is no box, so the possibilities are essentially endless, which is something I try to tell my students as well.
Yeah, because I'm amazed to see like how narrow is people's visions most of the times. Like
Mm.
from people that are not creative people, like the number of messages that I receive, like for example the Transformers one, like, oh, this is not how a Transformer sounds. Like, who say that? Who said it?
What the hell?
Because the sound designer from the first movie did his own version of a Transformers. He has to be the way like the a Transformers should sound. It's funny to have this kind of narrow vision. I understand I did something completely different. That's my I wanted to do something completely different. I understand if you don't like it, this is fine. Don't like it, I don't care. But don't tell me it's wrong, because there's nothing wrong or right in when you create things. The fact that you don't like it, that's fine. I'm not doing it for people to like it. I'm showing people what I did to get them inspired. I don't know. The first it's not the first time I work on a Transformers theme. The Actually, the first one that blew me on Instagram, it was a Transformers sequence when you got like from a car to a Transformers, and I went to a junkyard and I recorded metal scrap, and I didn't want it to be any digital sound. I just
Mm.
wanted like a metal robot to transform. So
Yeah,
you didn't have like the electronic sound or the yeah, yeah, it was
the
just rough
thrilling sounds
metal,
that you usually hear in the movies
and it
like that
was
wasn't.
just exactly, and it was just rough metal sounds. And
Mm.
most of people like it because they thought it was funny, and it works really well. But like I had like a few people, even from the industry, even no like well-known people from the
Mhm.
industry, they're like, "This is crap. This shouldn't be like the way." Like, but this is an Instagram account. I'm not here. It's not my professional portfolio. Or it's not my whatever. I'm here to have fun and look. I'm just having fun doing stuff. So don't come to me and say this is wrong.
Man.
Like, this is perfectly right to do whatever I want, the way I want. Like, you don't like it, you can comment. I don't mind. If you say I'm sorry, I don't like it, I'll be the first to say that that's completely fine. I don't like the way you did this thing, or you did these things. That's completely fine. But people rage about things because their mind is so narrow. Sometimes it always amazes me.
Well, I'm glad that it just amazes you and doesn't discourage you because, being in this creative field, you need thick skin and doing it as long as you have for 15 years, I'm pretty sure you've developed quite a thick skin to deal with negative feedback and harsh criticism.
Yeah, well, I think I'm lucky enough, and I feel very lucky because it's still very rare to have that kind of comments like on my videos. Sometimes I see other
Man, you
creators.
do you do amazing shit. Like whoever says otherwise, they're not right in the head. Honestly, I'm gonna go on the record and say it because it's just amazing.
Yeah, thanks. But the number of negative comments is so small. Like, I'm lucky enough to not have that kind of people on my feed. I have a great community. Sometimes I go to other accounts that people they do great stuff, and there's so many haters, and I don't get it. Uh, but this is why I don't put myself too much into those things. Like, I show myself in my videos, but I don't show my personal life. I don't show. I'm not. I don't see myself as an influencer or whatever. I have so many brands coming to me like, "Oh, can you do the promotion of our perfume or the our new toolkit?" It's like, what the fuck I will do with that? Why do you want me to sell perfume to my community? And I'm like, I can make money with those things. I can make money with so many things like clothes brands and whatever. So many brands come to me just because I see numbers of on my Instagram account,
Yeah.
and they're like, we need to reach a lot of people, so we go to people that got big followers. But like, some my first question when I got those brands, I was like, have you seen my feed? Have you seen what I do? At least tell me you saw at least one video, because what you're asking me to do is this is bullshit. This is bullshit. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't put personal stuff on my stories. For example, I don't show, like, the only thing I show it, it's my dog. Mostly my dog, because my dog is, because I love my dog so much. But like, I don't show my girlfriend. I don't show people like I have a girlfriend. I don't show my house or my, I show my studio, because this is where I create things.
Hmm.
But like, people know so uh, little about me, and this is just fine. I don't have to show my life. I don't have to show who I am. I just want people to see what I do.
Yeah. A little bit of a technical question when it comes to recording organic sounds like the one you did for Transformers, or like any other video. How big of an issue is the noise? Because ultimately you have to process all this stuff, and does noise ever factor into the whole mix? Or
What
do
do
you
you
just
mean?
the background noise, like
There's no issues at all. I
no
use
issues?
mics that I use mostly directional mics that
Hmm.
they they made to record what you point them at. So
Yeah,
no, I'm always recording great conditions. Background noises are not an issue at all. Like,
gotcha.
and even if they are, like, I know how to remove them pretty easily. It's part of my job. It's what I do most of the time. This is easy.
And I'm assuming that being surrounded by the Alps and all of that, like the snow kind of like acts as a dampener in a way,
Yeah,
does it? Yeah,
yeah. This here we don't have much noises. Like, the village I live, like, I
yeah,
can
like
record
of course.
forest without having any planes or things that I don't want to hear. Like, when I record things here, it's pretty easy.
Final question. I'm curious. Is there any transferable skill that you've taken from snowboarding and applied to filmmaking?
Uh, not as a music composer or sound designer, but as a filmmaker, yes. Because I used to film with a stabilizer while I was snowboarding. I did quite a lot of, even skiing. I mean, I teach ski as well. So I used to make film about ski, and when you have to film skiers or snowboarders, you have to be good at it. So being in the action, going fast, and still having the right frame. This is a skill. So when I was in Jersey, we had to film athlete running, swimming, cycling. So going fast and having the right frame, I guess it's a good skill. But I don't use this skill much anymore, as I said, because I film on my own. The
Yeah,
camera is mostly on a tripod. So
got it. Any final words to aspiring sound designers, composers, anything besides what you've already said?
um, not much, I guess. The thing that I'm the most proud of, it's being there today without having without the school learning path of things like this. So it's all about how much you want it, and how many effort you put into your passion. And I worked hard. I worked really hard. So if you want to get it, there's no one, it's kind of basic. You can see that everywhere, but it's actually the truth. Like, if you want it, it's how much you're gonna work for it. That's it.
Ben, with that, thank you so much. Like, this has been such an insightful session. And for those of you who want to see more of Ben's work, head over to his website, his social media. All links are in the description below. And Ben, looking forward to seeing the animated movie you worked on. Hope it releases soon. Can't wait to see that. And
Yeah,
hopefully, more awesome content on your Instagram profile. Thank you
yeah,
so much, man.
I will. Thank you for having me. Thanks so much.
No problem. Till then, this is Junkyard Theory, folks.
Bye.